Brains. Baby Rizzo, talking to the void. Hey everybody. So, kicking off the deluge I'm going to try to be doing today with something a little lighter. Well, I do suppose I did just do a horror comedy the other day as well, but here we are again. The Return of the Living Dead. Now, I usually try to not jump straight to sequels, but this is one of those strange cases where it is a sequel and isn't a sequel simultaneously, so fuck it. Here we go. Alright, so Return of the Living Dead is a follow up to George Romero and John Russo's Night of the Living Dead. However, the two main writers for that one, Romero and Russo, parted ways and each essentially wanted to do their own sequels and took the series in vastly different directions. Romero took the then of the Dead series, while Russo ended up going with The Living Dead. Though things didn't go quite as Russo planned, while he is still credited as one of the writers, since his script was a little too close to some of the original stuff, they punched it up into a bit more of a comedy, as well as set it in a world where the original Night of the Living Dead actually was a movie. So it differentiated enough from any of the Romero films. And it's definitely become a bit of a cult classic. Well, maybe even just a full-on classic at this point. So, as this is a movie that really popularized a lot of zombie tropes that, well, Night of the Living Dead, the ones that Night of the Living Dead didn't popularize probably came from Return of the Living Dead. Zombies that talk, particularly and On the Hunt for Brains, were really more popularized here than more things before it. It sort of was one of the takeoffs on. I think the original Dawn of the Dead might have beat it out for fast zombies, but the zombie comedies, while not completely unknown, there were some black and white ones, but those were more of the voodoo style zombies rather than, I guess, Romero style zombies, for lack of a better term. So it did pioneer a lot in that regard. And the movie still holds up pretty well in terms of both gore effects, comedy, and, well, it never really was a scary movie, but there are some moments that are definitely concerning, particularly towards the ends, that it still definitely has a few moments that, if you're really paying attention, are pretty horrific. So, this movie is about Freddy, who's a new employee at a medical warehouse, and he's getting the tour of the job and finds out from one of his superiors or supervisors that one, in the basement they got a shipment of canisters from the military accidentally that contain dead bodies from the incident that inspired the film Night of the Living Dead. They specified that it was the movie was changed a lot of things around and that it's wasn't all that accurate, and some of the original specimens are now in the basement. Eager to see, they go downstairs and accidentally unleash them, as well as getting sprayed with the chemical themselves. Meanwhile, Freddy's friends are looking to party. They want to pick him up and party, because Freddy always knows where to party. And now these are the more traditional 80s street punks, for the most part. There's a few that are dressed very incongruously for the rest of them, but for the most part, it's your street punks, even with such classy gang names as Suicide, Spider, and Trash. But so they do what anyone would do while waiting for their friend and go party in a cemetery. Why not? Well, it is right next to where their friend's going to be leaving work, so might as well do something to kill the 2 hours that they have to wait. When they come, and then when Freddy comes to, corpse is missing. However, everything that was dead that was upstairs in the medical warehouse, from the split dogs to some pinned butterflies to a cadaver they have in the freezer is all alive. And that cadaver is becoming a problem as it keeps banging and screaming. So, in a desperate effort to deal with that, they try the Night of the Living Dead strategy of destroying the brain. It doesn't work. In fact, any piece that gets cut off is still coming at them alive, making these zombies some of the most hard to kill that I've seen in film history. Very little actually stops them. So, they get the idea of to burn the body. They take it to the nearby cemetery's mortuary, fire it up. Problem solved. Until the fumes from the body hit the clouds, come down as rain, and that chemical that awoke that cadaver is now spreading all over. And up comes the cemetery. Well, now, I did notice one thing on this particular viewing, that most of the people who were bitten by the zombies don't seem to immediately transform or turn. It's kind of a departure from a lot of other zombie things. I'm not sure if it continues on through the sequels of this, but of all the main characters that get bitten or partially eaten, only one actually seems to get back up, and she was laying in a puddle where the rain was still coming down, so it seems more direct exposure to the chemical causes the zombification, rather than the actual bite contact. So that was interesting. And it even works on if someone's living gets hosed with the chemical, they slowly die and reanimate. And as they even try to figure out what the zombies want, it has an interesting conversation with one of the zombies as well. Also, this might be the first zombie movie where they actually say the word zombie. It was very traditional early on, where they just avoided it entirely, because most cases of walking corpses early on, they wouldn't know what a zombie is. Now that's become so ingrained in pop culture, that rule's been definitely relaxed. But this was one of the first ones because, well, since they reference a zombie movie, they are more within their ability to reference them as zombies. Now, the humor holds up very well, and the soundtrack is actually very good and really helps set the mood for it. It keeps things light, despite the darkness that's surrounding the events. Linnea Quigley is continuing to earn her role as the Scream Queen in this one, as the character Trash, who becomes one of the more iconic zombies. And some of the effects definitely do look a little dated, particularly the Tar Man, which is the first zombie that gets up. Definitely looks a little rubber suity. So does the cadaver, but it's really forgivable and much better than if any sort of CG would have been used. I mean, this is well before that was popularized, but if this movie was made today, you could easily see an over-reliance on that. So, practical effects, as always, usually look a lot better, even if they don't look the most realistic. So this one, it's fun, it's entertaining, but it isn't the most right-home movie, so I'm only going to give it a 4 out of 5 MacGuffins, but it's one that's easy to watch more than once, and it definitely holds up. So, I'm going to probably have another review up as soon as I get another movie in, which I've got sort of a stack sitting here, so we'll see how many I can get through. See you soon.